report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Heather D. Tune in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Tune in to the fish report.
Welcome, everyone, to another Fish Report Live. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis, and we're your co-host. And Ken, you know, it's tough to be the best. It's tough to be number one, but we're awfully blessed to have a couple of the best, a couple of the number one guys in the business back in our sound room, and TK and Heavy D, aren't we?
Well, you're absolutely right there, Craig. We got TK, Heavy D back there in the sound room. You see them right there. And I tell you what, you're not going to find two more genuine guys that love their job. They take pride in what they do, and, you know, like you said, they're the best in the business, and we appreciate everything they do for us.
Yeah, they do a lot of traveling with us. And, guys, come on back. I want to bring you back in there. You know, you do a lot of traveling with us. I know TK back in week one of the football season went down to Covington with us, covered that Covington-St. Henry football game. Just last week, Heavy D comes down to Cedarville to watch a cross-country meet, and from what I understand, Heavy D wasn't even in the state of Ohio today. Were you, Heavy D? You're out somewhere.
I was in sincerely beautiful Lincoln, Nebraska, home of the Cornhuskers, out there on business, and we stayed right next to Memorial Stadium where the Cornhuskers play, and they've got a brand new, maybe 3 or 4 year old state-of-the-art basketball facility. Really nice. They got a nice setup there. If you're ever in the area, I'd recommend stopping by. Good social hour time also down there.
Well, I got a daughter that's been out there, Craig, for about 8 weeks now, and she goes every Saturday that they're home to the tailgate parties for the football teams over there, and she loves it. Says it's going great, and like you said, great city, great state, but she's still a Buckeye fan.
It's the population of Lincoln, Nebraska. The state capital is 250,000, and 10% of that is the University of Nebraska.
Wow.
25,000 people attend there, so
nice.
1/10 of the population.
Well, we're glad to
There's
have you
facts.
back in Russia, Ohio tonight, and back in the Fish Report Live studio. You guys do a wonderful job. We're looking forward to a good show with you tonight. And,
Absolutely.
Ken, speaking of the best, speaking of number ones, we have a couple interviews tonight with coaches of number one teams, don't we?
We do, Craig. And again, this area is just blessed with super talent, super coaching, and when it comes to cross country. And we're really looking forward to talking to Craig tonight, the head coach of the Minster Lady Wildcats. That's Jessie Magato. Jessie has her Wildcats currently ranked number one in the state of Ohio. She's been very successful over there, several state championships in both track and field and cross country. And also, Craig, we're going to go just a little bit south of there to Fort Loramie and talk to Coach Dennis Pranger. Dennis, the proud coach of the Fort Loramie Redskins. He's got his boys team currently ranked number one in the state of Ohio, Craig. Very talented team over there as well. Really looking forward to talking to both of those coaches.
You know, the distance between those two towns is about a 5K, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Well, listen, looking forward to those interviews. Before we get to all that, though, just like we do every week, we have our weekly poll question. And speaking of number one teams, tonight's poll question is about number one teams.
Yes, it is, Craig, and a very appropriate question for tonight, Craig, as we discuss these two number one ranked cross-country teams right now. Which team has the best chance to win the state meet? Is it the Minster girls, the Fort Loramie boys, both teams, or neither team? Craig, that's an excellent question right now because, like you said, it's great to be number one now, but you also want to be number one come the first week of November.
Yeah, we just sent that question out on Twitter a little bit ago, and if you're watching us also on the Fish Report Live page, of course, you can scroll down, answer tonight's poll question, and check the results out. If you're watching us on NK Telco or GameFace Ohio, TK will have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, Ken, well, let's get things started talking girls cross country. Last week, the state rankings came out for week number 3, and the new state rankings, looking forward to those coming out hopefully tomorrow. But as we said, the Minster girls at the top of the poll right now, aren't they?
Yes, they are, Craig. You'll see from our poll standings here, the Minster girls are actually a unanimous number one, receiving all 12 first-place votes from across the state. McDonald right there in second place. Some very popular name, Gates Mill, Gilmore Academy, Columbus Grove, St. Thomas Aquinas, of course. Then as you look down the list a little bit, you see at number 10, the West Liberty Salem Tigers, a very good team again this year. And at number 12, St. Henry Redskins and our Russia Raiders, both tied. So, Craig, the polls are fun. I love the polls. When I had somebody involved in cross country, I loved them. I couldn't wait to open them up every Thursday morning. But, that's what they are. They're polls, and, you got to keep working because what really matters, like I said before, is come the postseason.
All right. Well, we talked about the Minster Wildcats, and one big reason for their success, of course, is their head coach, Jessie Magato. We had her on this show a couple years ago. Happy to have her back again live tonight on the phone. Coach Magato, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, Ken and I were going through the state polls, and there your girls are sitting on top again, a familiar place for your program. Ken just explained to us his thoughts in the poll. I want to get your thoughts. Do you enjoy that kind of press? Do you ignore it? What are your thoughts on it?
I have mixed emotions about it. The girls work really hard, and they like the attention. They're teenagers. They definitely like it. They know, though, there's really no relevance where you're at in the beginning, the middle, even going into the final race, where you're ranked and what happens in the end. We're on, different courses, and in the end, it's, who shows up and, when you fight, what happens in the end. So the polls don't really have a relevance.
All right, Coach, well, you're obviously off to a very good start this season. Personally got an opportunity to watch your team back at the beginning of the season over there at West Milton, a little later then at Tiffin. And, Coach, is there anything that has surprised you so far about your team this year? For example, maybe some of the younger runners on your team.
The young runners, my freshmen especially, just their grit this early on. They're extremely feisty and taking chances. All the girls have been extremely consistent this summer and the fall with their training. But just to see those young ones fight so early on, that's just awesome and really helps push the whole team along.
Coach, hi, this is Ken. Let's talk a little bit about this coming weekend. You bring your Lady Wildcats down to Centerville for the night race, the Saturday Night Lights race. I've personally been there before. It's a great atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. I know you've been there as well before. For those that have not been, explain to our viewers and our listeners out there what they can expect to see Saturday night.
The best way to describe the Saturday Night Lights is like a Friday night football game for cross-country runners. It's just tons of people. The energy is just outstanding. You have the best competition in all divisions, an extremely well-manicured course. It's fast, it's fun, exciting, and again, it just feels like a football game for cross-country runners.
Coach, I know it's still early, but let's talk a little bit about the postseason, okay? Last year you went into the state meet ranked number one. You were ranked number one most of the season. You ended up a state runner-up to a very good team in St. Thomas Aquinas. You got a lot of good runners back this year. How do you feel you could maybe change some things up? What are your plans as we enter into the latter part of the season to have the Lady Wildcats primed and ready for the first week of November?
Right now, we just focus on today, process. We don't look too far in the future, just process every single day, doing what they're supposed to. My goal is, come November, to get them as strong, fast, and mentally tough as they can so they race fearlessly when the time comes. And if they do that, it doesn't matter if we take a trophy or what color or silver, gold, they're champions, 100%. They do what they need to do. They will always be champions no matter what happens.
Coach, one more question. I'll turn it back over to Craig. Later in our show, we're going to be talking to the head coach of the Fort Loramie Redskins boys team, Dennis Pranger. He has his boys team currently ranked number one in Ohio. Interestingly enough, he also lives in Minster. So do the two of you know each other well? Do you talk cross country? Do you see each other much, say, at the Wooden Shoe eating a basket of chicken?
Well, we do see him at the Wooden Shoe sometimes, But, yeah, I know Dennis very well. I coach his daughter, Courtney, in track, and I coached her when she ran cross country. We definitely have a mutual respect as far as coaching goes. If I have questions, I never hesitate. He just recently asked me about Centerville, and I was happy to share with him our experiences and things that might help them. And I think all the area coaches have a mutual respect, and we're all just looking out for the best for the athletes, and whatever we can do to help each other, we do.
All right, Coach. Hey, listen, one more question before we let you go, and we can't let you go without asking about some of your personal running goals. I think a couple years ago when you were on this show, you were actually training for a full marathon, and I think you explained it to us as you wanted to get yourself in the same frame of mind as the girls that you were working so hard at the time. So how about it? Any goals for this fall? Any races coming up for this fall, or have those days passed?
Well, no, those days haven't passed. I just finished the Winans to Winans half marathon, and I ran the Flying Pig marathon this past spring, and of course, we have the Oktoberfest coming up in about 10 days.
Sure.
And interestingly enough, all of my coaches, we all still train, we all still race, and same mentality of, we want to put ourselves in the same spot as the girls so we know what they're going through, and we can help them, the best we can. So as long as I can do it, I'll look for another marathon come this spring to train for.
Coach, I have to say, I seen you running at the Flying Pig, and you look very good, finished well, so congratulations on that as well. So,
well, thank you. That was generous.
But no, from Fish Report, from Craig and I, TK Heavy D in the sound room, best of luck to the Lady Wildcats. You do a great job over there with the Minster program. What a rich tradition you've got. Be proud of it, and like I said, keep the girls on the fast lane, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Thanks, Coach. All right, that was the head coach of the Minster Wildcats, Jessie Magato. And Ken, you can't deny she's always got her girls in that position at the end of the season. Whether they pull it off or not, it's interesting how she said she always looks at them as champions, doing the best they can. But they're always one of those teams you think that they might win it.
Yep. Craig, when she said that, she's exactly right. You watch these young kids, boys, girls, both, they really work hard through the season. You talk about a very, very tough sport. These kids, they train, a lot of them train, 9 months out of the year. And to see them go out there and just give it their all for 18 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it might be, it's just an impressive feat what she's done with that program over there at Minster.
Certainly is. It certainly is. All right, listen, that's going to wrap it up for our girls cross country talk. We're going to take a short break, but stay right there. When we come back, we're going to talk some boys cross country with the coach of the #1 team in Ohio, Fort Army's Dennis Pranger.
Stage at the Leaving Van. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. Teacher, cat, and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. Yeah, we're all beautiful beautifully broken here tonight.
Welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, Ken and I were talking some girls cross country. Now we're going to talk some boys cross country. And Ken, we went over that state poll for the girls. And of course, as we mentioned at the top of the show, the Fort Laramie boys on top of the state polls last Thursday. It'll be interesting to see if they remain there this year. So let's check out last week's state poll, see where we're at.
Yes, Craig, this is last week's state poll. This week's will be out tomorrow. A very much closer race in the boys. But again, these are just numbers that are thrown out there. They're great for the kids. They're great for the media to look at it. But like you said, last week, Fort Laramie, number one in the state, just nudging Maplewood there by a couple votes. St. Thomas Aquinas, third place. So two very good teams right there behind the Redskins. And as you look down the list, you got Anna ranked 9th in the state. And familiar name there, Craig, Liberty Center, only on the boys' side this year. Typically, you see them on the girls' side, although their boys' teams also have been very good. So Fort Laramie, like you said, ranked right now number one in the state of Ohio, Craig. And we'll see what happens as the season pairs out.
Yeah, a couple tradition-rich programs behind them in Aquinas and Maplewood, as you said. And, of course, those Fort Laramie Redskins, their head coach is Dennis Pranger. Happy to have him live on the phone right now. Coach Pranger, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, listen, it is the first time we've had you on this show, and I believe the first time your Redskins have been at the top of the state polls. You know, just a few minutes ago, Coach, we talked to Minster coach Jessie Magato, who has her girls on top of the polls as well. Wanted to get your thoughts on the poll. Do you enjoy that hype, or are you ignoring it?
Boy, Jessie's had a lot more experience handling those state rankings than I have. But I would probably guess we take a similar approach. While it's nice to have the state coaches, recognize what we've been able to accomplish to this point, it's still only mid-September. It's a long way till November. Our task right now is probably the same as what Jessie's telling her girls, and that's we've got to work hard every day in practice. We've got to get better. If we don't get better, we're not going to get faster, and if we don't get faster, we're not going to accomplish the goals that we have for the end of our season.
All right, Coach, well, we kind of saw this coming last year. You had a very young team that we watched blossom as the season went on, ended up finishing 5th over there at the state meet, and expectations were high from people like Ken and I coming into this season. So what's been the key to your success these last couple years?
I would say it starts with talent. We have some kids that are blessed. They have some great talent to be just natural runners. Then you combine that with a willingness to work hard. That's a pretty powerful combination. If you remove either of those ingredients from the equation, we're not nearly as successful. But our success probably starts it starts up front with Jake Raithman, Joe Ballas, and Tom Ballas. Those three guys were simply, they were born to run. Then we've got other guys that have recognized that they've got an opportunity, we've got an opportunity to be pretty good. They know that it takes more than the three up front, that they've got to do their job. So guys like Noah Siegel and Alan Holdheide, Gavin Schulte, Colin Luthman, and even our guys that are right now positioned in the 8th, 9th, and 10th spots and beyond, they know that when they work hard, that's going to make us better.
Coach, hi, this is Ken Francis. You've won all your meets this year. You're undefeated on the season. You won the Shelby County Preview. You won the Salina Invite. You won the Tiffin Carnival meet, as well as your own Invitational. Of these 4 races, Coach, which one were you the most happiest with the effort in your team?
Oh boy, that's a great question, because each of those races have an importance for us for a different reason. We started out the season with the Shelby County League meet. The Shelby County League is as strong as it's been the last 3 or 4 years, and to go in there and be able to win that one early in the season gives us a sense for where we're at against the rest of the county. The Laramie meet, we always want to do well at your home meet, but the reality is a lot of coaches approach those midday weeks with meets with a different approach. Some are resting kids, some are using it as a workout. But I like the way that our kids approached that particular day. Jake didn't have his best race, and other guys stepped up, and I think that's the hallmark of a good team. If I had to pick one, it was probably Tiffin. That's a meet that it lets you know really quickly where you stand against some of the best competition in the state. Not everybody goes there, and some race up, some go into different races. But I thought that we put together a pretty good race that particular day, at least for that point in the season. So I would say Tiffin is probably the one where I think that we put the best combination together on the same day, but we're still going to have to be better than that if we want to achieve our goals.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about this weekend. Saturday, you go to the very entertaining Saturday Night Light Race in Centerville. I've been there from previous cross-country seasons. It's a great meet. It's a lot of fun. It's very unique. You just don't see it around very often. There's going to be some very good teams, some big schools there. What's it going to take for the Redskins to do well here? But maybe more importantly, what can your team learn from racing against this tough competition?
I think the first thing that I want our kids to do is to embrace that opportunity, as you said, to race some of the best individuals and the best teams regardless of size. I'm pretty sure we're the only D3 boys team in the field. I might not be correct on that. But that's something that our boys wanted. When I talked to them last spring about the possibility of us trying to get into that particular meet, they wanted to know what they had to do to get the opportunity, to earn the opportunity to run in that last race of the evening. So what I want them to do is to go out strong. I want them to compete, and I want them to race fearlessly. On paper, that field is going to be the fastest one that our guys have ever raced against. So they're going to have to be ready from the beginning of the race, but at the same time, they can't spend too much in that first mile. If they get caught up running a mile time that they're not prepared for, that's going to have a negative effect at the end of their race. But I certainly want them to get that sense that, at the state meet, that first mile is usually crazy fast, and you have to be able to be within yourself, but you have to let yourself go at the same time, and it's a fine line between those two.
Coach, is very well said there. You've got to practice against the best or race against the best to be the best. So, I admire your team going out for that challenge Saturday night, and good luck against that stiff competition there in Centerville.
Thank you.
One more question for you. I see on your schedule, October 1st, you're heading to the Cuyahoga Valley National Park Invitational. What's up with this meet here, and can you explain a little bit more about it?
Yeah, this is something that we've been lucky to be able to do for a number of years. As long as I've been with the program, going back to Coach Stickley, our school has always supported our kids being able to go on what we would call a travel trip. We'll take 8 varsity boys, 8 varsity girls. We're going to head up to the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. The host school is Peninsula Woodridge. And the park is in between Cleveland and Akron. And when we went last year for the first year, it is by far the most challenging course that I've ever taken a team to. When we got there, I happened to see Coach Jeff Howard from Woodridge, and I asked him, I said, what does this course do to your kids' times? And he said, on a good day, your kids are going to be 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes slower than their PRs. It's the terrain is that difficult. And last year it was cold, it was rainy, and it was more like 2.5, 3, 4 minutes for some kids. And we didn't really approach it as though we were disappointed in times. We were measuring their efforts, and our kids really, really enjoyed that particular meet. We look at this weekend as a business trip, or that weekend as a business trip. It's an opportunity for them to travel for 2 days, to be away from home, to decide what they need to be eating when mom's not there to take care of those type of decisions, sharing a room with 3 other people, trying to get the right amount of rest and balancing having a good time with doing what we need to be successful. And of course, that's part of that state experience. So we like to try and build this in. It's fell at different times. We've gone to all different corners of the state, but the last 2 years we've gone up to Cuyahoga, and we really enjoyed our experience last year.
All right, Coach, good stuff. Hey, one more question before we let you go. And of course, along with being the boys coach over there, you're also the girls coach. And your girls team has been doing okay so far this season, but I particularly noticed your junior high girls have had a lot of success. And I want to get a little insight from you. What does the future of the Fort Army girls program look like?
Our high school girls are young right now. We've got our top 5. We have 4 freshmen and 1 sophomore, and those girls have consistently been our top 5. And I like where we're at now. I also like where we're headed in the future. The issue we have right now is depth. We just don't have enough depth to absorb a major injury or an extended illness to our team. But I think that if we avoid setbacks, I think we'll be a team that could be in that hunt at the end of this year for one of those spots. And I kind of see a lot of similarities between our team, our girls' team, and where our boys' team was maybe even going into last season or the season before for sure. We saw that talent coming. We kept challenging our kids because the reality is we've got 2 seniors on our team, and this is their only shot. So we can't really be focused on next year. We're really focused on this year. But since you asked down the line, we do have 20 girls in our junior high program. They have not been beaten yet this year. We've got some kids that we think are going to come in and be those pieces to the puzzle that can help us get back to where we want to be, where Fort Laramie was consistently a few years ago. Well, it's been more than a few years, but back in the 2000s when we were consistently at state, that's really what we're trying to get back to.
Coach, it's great to see you putting the Fort Laramie Redskin cross-country program back on the map. Us over here at Russia, we've had a little bit of success in cross-country ourselves over here in the past, and, we always like to welcome the challenge from the Fort Laramie Redskins, and you're doing a great job over there. So best of luck to you guys the rest of the season, and, I'm sure we'll see you around.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach. All right, that was the coach of the Fort Laramie Redskins boys and girls program, Dennis Pranger. And Ken, we're about running out of time here, so I want to go back to the sound room real quick. And guys want to check in with him back there. Talked to him a little bit earlier in the show. And TK and Heavy D got just a minute or so left here. And before we get back to tonight's poll question, anything happening in the wide world of sports? Apparently not. Apparently not.
Nothing. There's not a thing happening. Just want to check in on one item. I knew a lot of people were interested a couple years ago when Tri-Village said they're going to dip their toes into sports, are we still there? We're looking not so good. Here we go.
I think we're back.
We had a glitch on the screen there. When they're going to dip their toes into high school football, they are now 2-2 in their first varsity season, and this weekend they head up to Covington Christian to try and put that record on a winning side with a 3-2 record. So a little bit going on down there.
Yeah, not a bad way to start out your first varsity season. And of course, we talked on this show the last couple weeks, a little volleyball. And speaking of number ones, we got a number one team in the Shelby County League, don't we?
Yes, we do, Craig. Jackson Center Lady Tigers in volleyball. Coach Kim Metz over there, Craig, she's just got it going. I'll tell you what, they won state last year. Great team again this year. And, they're definitely going to be the tough team to beat in Division IV volleyball.
All right, well, that's about going to do it for us tonight. I do have that poll question to get to tonight, so Ken, why don't you read that to our viewers real quick, and we'll have TK check out the telemetrics.
Well, Craig, we talked a lot of cross country tonight. We talked to both coaches of number one ranked teams in Ohio. So our poll question is, which of these 2 number one ranked teams in Ohio will win state this year? Is it the Minster girls, the Fort Laramie boys, both of them, or neither of them? We'll go to the sound room and see what the telemetrics has to say.
What do you have, TK?
All right, guys. Well, we've got a tough crowd out there tonight because 50% of the viewers say neither.
Wow.
Neither.
You know, like we've talked about before, take something special to make it all the way through a cross country season and win it in state. So that's.
Well, you say neither, and I got a response here on Twitter where someone told me both. So we can add that one to the both.
No matter, like we've said tonight, no matter what the polls say right now, they are a lot of fun. I love reading the polls, but there's really only one race that matters, guys, and that's the first week of November at Hebron, Ohio. So we'll see what happens. We'll find out. And you know what? It'll be here before you know it.
That's right. All right. Well, do want to say special thanks tonight to our guests, Coach Magato and Coach Pranger, for coming on the show. Also want to say thanks to we have a live studio audience here tonight, as well as our viewers out there at home. Ken, I, and the crew will all be back again next week. Same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, everyone, and good night.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report, hanging at the